Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another episode of what was it? A dose of
Dose.
unpopular opinion duo. Sorry, apologies. Um, been doing a lot. So, again, welcome all to another episode of Essential Womb Whispers, the podcast. So, today with Raisa, we're going to talk about a very unpopular opinion, a very unpopular social opinion. That is the concept of working hard and not having time for your
hmm
circle in inverted commas. So, Raisa, I know you have a story about this. So, start with the story.
All right, it's first of all, it's good to be back. We haven't done this in months and we are back. And let's see how it goes.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Oh, we ain't seeing how it goes. We're making it
Happen.
go.
She's calling me out already. All right, y'all.
Aywa.
All right, so the story. See, when you're working a lot, when you're working hard, you will see in social media saying you should not put your sense of honor with working hard and all that. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's what we want to talk about today is how your social circle can start to criticize you instead of supporting you for, let's say, your goals or the things that you want to achieve in your life by saying personal experience, such as like you work so hard, you don't have time for us anymore, or you don't have time to socialize anymore. All you do is work, or it's like your life is already so boring. When are you going to make time for us? So there's a sense of guilt when you hear that from the receiving end, because I have felt that. I'm not playing victim here. It's just that I wanted to balance and understand what was the point of view of that friend or that person or that family, and me trying to achieve my goals for the direction that I wanted to achieve. Riz, put your 2 cents on this as well.
It's dollars and euros now, darling.
Yeah.
Not cents. No, see, let me be like you guys know that I'm pretty open with my life, pretty open with what I think about. So when I heard Alex Ramosi go like work hard on other people say like my performance coaches or high performance coaches, the person, I always was like, what work? Like the word WORK. I'm like, what do you mean by work? So for me, that was confusing because I'm not in competition with anybody else. So what I do is pretty unique. It's based on my experience, my learning, um, my up level, teach women on that. So when I always heard the work hard, grind, out of the other person, I was like, what do you mean by what? Like, first of all, I'm not in a corporate job. So when I was in a corporate job, I understood like there is work. But then this concept of work is so ambiguous. What do you mean by work?
What do you mean by work?
Yeah. What do you understand by work?
Well, it comes in different layers for me. Obviously, there's the nine to
Mm.
five, and then for me at that time, I would remember was telling you I enjoy what I'm doing. I don't even see it. Okay, it's work. I'm not gonna say I don't see it as work, but it is work. Like I'm doing something to earn a living, or I'm trying to finish my deadlines. But at the same time, I'm enjoying what I was doing during those periods.
So how is that work?
What is work? You tell me.
Exactly my point. So the concept of work and work was created for men. It was they who had to go do the heavy labor.
Your voice is
So,
cutting a little bit. Can you repeat that line?
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I said mainly the word work was created to support men, to give them a sense of purpose. When it comes to women, if we use the word work as labor, as emotional labor, physical labor,
It's cutting. Can you say that again? The last line.
wow. Okay, fine. So, what did you hear me say finally?
When it comes to women, that was the last one.
Oh, which means I have to rephrase. Okay. When it comes to women, we work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we work all the time with regards to emotional, physical, spiritual, intellectual. We're constantly working. So when this word work gets thrown around, I get confused because I don't understand what they're referring to because it is a masculine word. Next, you won't find a male, oh, bro, you're working so hard. I haven't seen you. We haven't gone out for drinks. No, you won't hear a high performing male to another high performing male. But you will hear mediocre males telling a high performing males because they are triggered by the level of commit. That is what means work for me. The level of commitment to my responsibility is work, not just pushing paper or not just doing things. It's the level of commitment. Like, for example, if I place a responsibility upon me to finish a particular task for me, because I work for myself and I delegate to my team, so I need to have time for them to complete it. Now that's my responsibility. The level of dedication I have towards my responsibility is how much energy, time, effort I'm going to put into that task to complete that, to hand over. That is work for me.
Okay, I have a question now. For the person, the women who tells their other women peers, you work so hard, why? Why is it? Like you work so hard, you
Uh,
don't have time for me. Why?
let me ask you a female triggering question. Sorry, a working female triggering question. Okay. When you see, I don't know whether it triggers you, it'll trigger others, and it sure has triggered me before. When some around and they like point out and they're like and stuff like it's not spotless, it's not shining marble, it's not spotless, it's not shining marbles. Um I would feel like I would feel a bit triggered, and even more if my mother tells me spotless. She's so amazing. She's got things so distinct. She cooks 5 meals a day and yada, yada, yada. I feel triggered.
Why?
Why? Because I can't attain that level of so-called perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And this has happened many multiple times. So I'm like, cool for her. She doesn't. run a business, kids that she needs to focus on. She's hardly bothered about her kids. So she's got time for this. I have other responsibilities that cannot be seen. So when a female comes and tells another female, you're working so hard, I don't see you, you're doing that, you're doing this, we hardly have time. But the one who is moving the needle, but others can't see the needle being moved. So according to their minds, you just you just what you're just tiring yourself, you're exhausting yourself, you're not achieving what you want to achieve. So why are you exhausting yourself when you can relax?
Hmm. Relax is triggering for me.
I had a conversation with my son today, my 8-year-old. He was saying, we were talking about Tom Sawyer, okay, the adventures of Tom Sawyer. So he's got a literacy day today, so he's dressed up as Tom Sawyer. So he told me on the way, he's like, "Ugh, oh, I'm like, why the noise? I'm bored. I'm like, okay. And I said, wait, Tom Sawyer never gets bored. Then he was like, so I asked him, what's the difference between bored and relax? And he was like, of course, he had a cheeky answer. Bored is bored, relax is relaxed. I'm like, thank you. But according to the story of Tom Sawyer relaxes after he tricks his friends to do his work.
Interesting.
He doesn't work. Right, in the story, Tom Sawyer was told by his aunt to paint the fence. He was painting the fence, and a friend of his came by, and then the friend was like, "What you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing this most absolutely fantastic, amazing job of painting my fence. It's so much fun." Now the friend was like, listen to the story very carefully. It applies to us today. The friend was like, "Oh, that seems so much fun. Can I do it?" And Tom was like, "Sure." He tricked his friend, and that's a CEO.
Interesting.
And he was even given marbles to take over the job of painting. Tom would have given it to him for free. But then he convinced his friend that it's such a fun job. And the friend also enjoyed painting the fence because he found it fun. This is what happens with work. If you enjoy completing tasks, if you enjoy um, reaching deadlines and going to the next step, and somebody does not have your ambition, or somebody does not have your goals or your targets, they're not going to understand.
Hmm.
This is where it's important to have a community of women who who actually help you in achieving your goal, not criticizing you for not fulfilling their social battery.
I agree.
I know. And I had another mentee that day. She was telling me, "Oh, this is absolutely cold." I was going to talk about the circle. Her friends and her family, they were like, "Oh, you're working so hard. You're working so hard. We hardly get to see you. We hardly get to see you." And she was like, "Man, I'm doing something great. I'm doing something amazing because nobody in my direct circle is has done this or is doing this and stuff like that." So she submitted her assignment to her professor. The professor blew his top. The professor was like, "What have you done? You have not answered the question that her, she's done amazing work. And she assumes she's done amazing work because everybody around her was like, stating stuff like, oh, you're working so hard, you're always in this. So she's like, I'm doing something great. She scaled a mountain, but she scaled the wrong mountain.
Mm. When you're doing
Because
work
mm,
that's not actually what it's needed and you're
she's
wasting
out,
time.
she
Yeah.
exactly
Hmm.
in terms of her,
Hmm.
she submitted the paper, and that has some amazing facts, that has amazing research, that is written very well, but it doesn't answer the question.
Yeah, I
But
get
she put
that.
in the work.
Hmm. I get that. I get that. I think it's something that easily you can fall into the trap in corporate. For example, you're
Mm,
focusing on something that, okay, this feels fun, this feels nice, but then that's not actually what moves the needle, you know? So I get exactly what that means.
so, what moves the needle?
Hmm.
Mm.
It depends on what you are trying to achieve. Something that creates impact, the biggest impact. I think that's what moves the needle. It
But
could be
how do
compounded
you how do you know it will create impact?
if you know first the direction that you want to go to. No?
Mm?
Knowing first what's
And
your purpose, what's the direction that you want to go to, and what are the small steps to get into that. Um, can I think of an example? Mm, I can't think of an example right now. Oh, okay. You know what? I have something on coaching, for example. Okay, on
perfect.
coaching, for example, like let's say just few years ago, I would like to curate a nice post, something with focusing so much on the colors, the branding, not even focusing on the content as much as you're just like focusing on the design. Okay, I know design also has an impact on how people view your feed and view your content, but let's just say you focus on that. You don't focus on being consistent. You just focus on the design. You don't focus on being consistent. You don't focus on the delivery of your content. I don't see how it balances. Do you get what I mean?
Mm. So, so if you're going to talk about copy and content, if you're so focused on curating a post that is aesthetically pleasing, that's pleasing to the eye and looks symmetrical and looks all of that, but then when you deep dive, this is something which my Indian mentor keeps saying, hold water. He was saying like, it doesn't hold water. And I'm like, I don't get it. So, and then he told me, get your mind into a famine state. Imagine that you're in a famine state. And okay. And you will, in a famine drought state. So you will look for some, because that is so precious to you that you will look at everything that can hold that precious water properly. So I'm like, okay, I'm going with whole water. So when you see something and it looks so nice, it looks so whatever, whatever, but it doesn't serve the purpose. That's what he means. It doesn't serve the purpose. It doesn't hold water. So it could look beautiful. For example, like you were saying, we can have a lovely looking jar, a jug, which is so beautiful. It looks so pleasing. But the moment you pour water, it leaks.
Mm,
That's of no use.
mm-hmm.
Because when you're thirsty and you go to the jug, presuming you had a full jug of water because you put in the labor of filling it, and there's no water, that jug means nothing to you, no matter how beautiful it looks.
Right, right.
This is the concept, and this happens to a lot of women who are working, who who see this social media concept of work, outworking, outperforming. These are trendy terms. Outworking, outperforming. How?
That's my question too.
Yeah, how? Like, how you gonna outperform? Because it's easy to be busy being busy.
Mm,
It's very easy to be busy being busy. So when they're talking about outperforming or outworking somebody, that means that you already have a plan. You already have things organized. You just have to put your head down and consistently walk. For
mhm,
example, if you take accounting, if you take company accounting, that is a continuous process where there are things that's happening, there are things that need to be done, there are reports that has to be projected, that is a continuous thing. So that a team has to be on top of the things that's happening in real time. If you take stock trading or Wall Street, or people on the Wall Street flow, stock flow, so it's happening in real time. Things are changing in real time. So the concept of work, as I told you, came out for men to give them a sense of purpose. And again, my son will be like, it's ain't a history lesson, but it has to be now. So at the beginning, when there was nobles and peasants, the way the nobles separated themselves from the peasants is how much work the peasants did compared to the nobles. The richer you are, the less labor you do, aka work.
mhm,
You don't have calloused hands, you don't have burned feet. You look fresh, you are surrounded by beauty, you're surrounded by things, whereas the peasants have to toil in the fields, in the kitchen. So th that was how they divided nobility from peasants, the word work. And then after all of these systems collapsed, after World War One, after all these systems collapsed, and we don't have any kings and kingdoms and empires and so on, then came the different kinds of revolutions. So now there is nothing to separate. Peasants became nobles, nobles became peasants. But then we talk about the World War One, World War Two was even worse. After World War Two, when the whole practically half the world was destroyed, everybody went back into manufacturing and rebuilding. Japan emerged as an electronic superpower in the 70s after being bombed mercilessly. So London rebuilt itself. So the word work became prestigious. It was a prestigious thing to say, I have work, I go to work, because not everybody had work, not everybody had employment. So do you see how this word has
yeah,
been turned?
yeah,
And then we come to the financial revolution of the 80s, Wall Street boom, where they were working like 16, 17, 18 hours a day, and they were being paid fat checks. Then comes the lawyers, 80s, 90s lawyers. There was a John Grisham book as well about how they were billable hours, how you work, you do the work, and you bill the law firm for the hours you work. And then we come to the tech boom. Again, 16, 17-hour days. I work so hard on this. This is my software. I work day and night on this. Apple, Microsoft, boom. We work so hard. And after the 90s, the word work became synonymous with intellectuals.
interesting. Go on.
So after the 80s, when you say I work so hard, it's not manual labor. It's mental labor. It's you because you're such a genius. You're somebody who created something. You created business models. You created um, a system, and that system you created a software, and that made money. So you saying I work so hard means you're intellectual and you're a smart person. You're not labor anymore.
Mm, mm,
So they started dividing work into physical labor and intellectual work.
mm-hmm,
Then came the term intellectual capital,
mm-hmm,
another term for employees. So work hard, work hard, work. That's why for me, work hard means I don't understand what because for me it, that word has so many meanings, and I don't understand what you mean by work. And it's just an umbrella term, like you said. It depends on what you're doing. It depends on your purpose, depends on your goal. More than that, it depends on what your responsibility is.
mm,
And then see, and then working hard is glamorized because you get paid for the time you put in.
mm-hmm.
That's why working hard is glamorized. And then everybody's like, I work so hard, I work so hard. Then, and now the 2000s comes the deservability paradigm. I deserve this because I work so hard.
Yeah,
You get my point?
yeah.
I have so many women come and tell me, oh, I deserve this because I work so hard. And I'm like, I don't want to be mean, but what is the results of your hard work? Okay, you put in so many hours, you did so much work, but what is the result?
Mm-hmm.
So, so so, and women, now the new trend the past 2, 3 years, I want to have a soft girl era. I want to be soft. My question is, when were you hard? So I don't want to work. I don't want to do difficult things.
Mm,
I want to do things soft. I want to do things easy.
mm. Wait, I
To
want
do
to,
things. Mm,
no,
good.
I just want to go back to this deservability. I know you have an episode about this, and I know we've talked about this a lot of times, but
No problem.
why, why do we fall into this? I deserve this because I work hard.
Because we expect that because it's an entitlement.
Mm. Reward, like a reward kind of thing, or
Yeah,
in.
but reward for
Mm,
what?
mm,
Reward for what? Like you are, let's say you have a grocery store. Side note, I'm investing into a grocery store back home, so that's why that came to mind. So we're opening a new grocery store in about a month's time. Okay, a prime location. So you all will see the video once it's done. So now
nice.
you say you have a grocery store, and for
Mm-hmm.
you it's daily business, and the income is daily. Okay, because you sell and you buy, and you have to go buy stock and stuff like that. So before you make a profit, you withdraw the cash. You haven't accounted for the expenses. You haven't accounted for the creditors. You haven't accounted for anything. You just have some cash in the till and you assume that's your profit. And you're like, I worked so hard. I stood here. I spoke to people. I sold. So I'm going to take this whatever money and I'm just going to go home. And you're going to spend the money. Now, you haven't done anything on your books. Like, I have to pay creditors. You have to pay utilities. Um, you have to pay your staff. but there's no money there because you took the money saying, I deserve this money because I work so hard.
Mm, mm,
That's deservability concept. You worked hard, but where is the result? The
mm-hmm.
money that you are entitled to is not the cash in the counter. The money that you deserve, that is rightfully yours, is the remaining money after expenses. This everybody understands.
Yeah.
And when I say people are like, oh, duh, Riz, of course. But then why are you doing it to yourself? Why are you withdrawing cash before you accounted for the books? That's deservability.
Mm-hmm.
I deserve it because I was here. I was here every day at 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Riz. So this cash is mine. Okay. And then what then? What's next? That's deservability. That's why deservability is so warped, and we are pushed to deservability. And we what the early 2000s we have this L'Oreal ad because you're worth it or because you deserve it or something like that. Like I have to buy this because why? See how marketing
Yeah.
has conditioned us to believe that
Mm-hmm.
because you got up in the morning, you brushed your teeth, you
Mm-hmm.
combed your hair, and you looked presentable and went to office, you deserve a day off.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense. But everything else, everybody's like, I deserve it. I deserve it. Why? Because I work so hard. Isn't that the prerequisite to completing a difficult task?
Yeah.
Then how does that become
Mm-hmm.
deservability?
Mm.
Guys, Raisa goes like, eh.
Because I could hear the counter the counter which already countered. Let's say I worked hard, I deserve a little bit of this and that because this is my treat for myself or reward for myself. So that's why I was already reading the counter, but then your counter would still counter that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you see, you can't deserve something because you put in the required number of work. See, if you take athletes, athletes are not going to say, I put in 1,000 hours of training, so I deserve a gold medal. No, they still have to run.
Mm-hmm.
They still have to compete. They still have to prove that their training is better than somebody else's training to receive the gold medal.
Mm-hmm.
But then we walk around thinking like, I deserve this, I deserve that because I'm all of that. That's because of all these Kardashians and all this
Yeah,
nonsense out
probably
there.
the marketing and, capitalism and all that stuff. And I
Yeah,
think,
so that they can get your money.
yeah, and actually, I think because you spend your whole time, let's say 80-90% of your time working, especially for people in the corporate, that you feel like, okay, this is the only time I get to myself, instead of integrating your life, with the work.
Mhm.
So I think we're trying to, let's say you have 2 to 3 hours of free time in the day, you're trying to squeeze that in with shopping here, shopping there. So I think this is like some entertainment. Another, yes, another one is entertainment. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you're trying to distract yourself
Mm-hmm.
from misery.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're not doing anything to get better or to get a solution. You're just slapping on a band-aid on a huge cut,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and the
That's
cut will get
actually
bigger and bigger and bigger.
yeah, that's a good topic, I think, for um next few episodes.
Yes.
We have few minutes left. What would be your like closing um statement for this episode?
First of all, be careful with the circle that you choose.
Mm-hmm.
because they influence your level of energy. And they also will influence your level of commitment to achieving your goal. Because if they are gonna put you on a pedestal and say you work so hard, you work so hard, you work so hard, not knowing what you work or not understanding whether you only know whether you're moving the needle or the goals are being reached.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying you work so hard, and you think, oh my God, this is amazing. I work so hard. I deserve this. But as you've done nothing but clear up mistakes of the past and you have not done the chores of today, you have worked hard, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing has changed.
Mm-hmm.
So don't don't fall for the trap. They're not evil people. They just don't understand where you want to go because you're not aligned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're not aligned. You don't understand each other. So that's why mastermind is very, very important. Having people who have bigger goals than you, who
Mm-hmm.
will push you, who will uh, tell you to move forward, who will guide you. That's why mentors are important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
I
can have
agree.
a circle of goals and just go out partying every day and not achieve a single thing.
Right. That was
So
very
definitely
yeah, that was very helpful. I think we need to wrap it up now. And thank you for today's time raising the episode. It was nice to be back again.
my pleasure. I know. And guys, I literally had to drag in Raisa kicking in today.
All right. Till next time again, inshallah. Till next episode,
Yes,
inshallah.
inshallah.
All right.
So I'm gonna end this by saying be smart, have discernment, and understand where you are, understand where your circle is. Don't fall for the trap.